Hi everyone. Well, I originally planned on doing a follow-up on my first Microsoft Paint episode, but I'm going to have a special one because this talks about why I started the Paint series and how Steve Gibson, renowned security guru for many decades, has just recommended Linux because Windows has gotten so bad, and he's kind of going to parrot all the same things I mentioned about what's wrong with Microsoft patches these days. So let's have a listen and we'll chat.
Okay, now
Here we go.
take a deep breath, Steve. Before I start talking about the state of Windows yet again today, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that I am feeling somewhat self-conscious about the fact that I've been pounding on Microsoft to
With
the
good
extent
reason.
that I have pretty much since March of this year, when we all learned that they hadn't bothered to fix the Exchange server problems they'd been informed of many months earlier. And they apparently only finally did so, and even then, incorrectly, incompletely, and incompetently, when their own customers began coming under attack as a consequence of their protracted negligence.
Ooh,
This podcast
a damning
has been
report.
observing and reporting the facts as they have unfolded. And I don't know what else I can do. I also
Not much.
can't help but have an opinion and editorialize a bit because I've been programming computers since I was 16 years old in high school 40 years ago. So I can state with absolute authority that while these machines are fascinatingly complex, they are not mystical or magical
Absolutely correct.
or unknowable. It's called computer science, not computer alchemy.
Computer
As
witchcraft.
we will see shortly, Microsoft has begun selling the idea that this is beyond us all, that no one is in control, that no one can be in control any longer, that along with them, all we can do is hope for the best. Okay, I refuse to be suckered into that mindset. And I assume that this podcast's listeners are with me on this. Every single one of us is here because we love and are fascinated by computers, and because we want
Amen.
to understand them. They are deterministic and knowable. They serve us,
Not for
the
much
other
longer.
way around. And I'm truly worried that Windows
Ditto.
appears to have escaped Microsoft's grasp. If that's the case, acknowledging and examining that truth is worth our while. So, the first question, can we print yet? Is
No.
printing too much to ask?
Apparently.
On the one hand, no one is going to believe this or want to believe it. On the other hand, unbelievable as it is, in a sad way, it won't come as a shock. Microsoft has said that after installing October's, last month's, just by 2 days, October's Patch Tuesday updates, KB 500, 6670 for Windows 10, and KB 500, 6674 for Windows 11, for which we held out high hopes, customers have been experiencing issues with network printing. Unbelievable. Microsoft explained that Windows users attempting to connect to network shared printers might encounter multiple errors, preventing them from printing over the network. For example, after deploying KB 56674 for Windows 11, the errors generated can be, and we've got 3 of them, hex 6E4, which is RPC underscore S underscore cannot support, or you might get the 7C error, which is the error invalid level of something.
Sorry, I find Steve is very slow explaining things. So we just bear with him and he'll get to the point.
Or 709, error invalid printer name. even though the printer name is apparently valid, or it was last week, not anymore. I surveyed the complete list of Windows platforms affected, which were listed along with this news from Microsoft, and I didn't see any that were missing. From the most recent, all the way back to and including Windows 7 Service Pack 1, Windows 2008 SP2 or R2. So here's an instance where the 15% of users who are still using Windows 7 and have stopped
Hats off for
receiving
Windows 7.
those improvements from Microsoft can feel glad.
Yeah.
So yes,
I think we should all go back to
past
it
2
and
weeks,
fuck Windows
ever
10.
since installing last month's latest
I have this sneaking suspicion there's nefarious things going on with Windows because, Bill Gates and vaccines. There's something going on that we're not being told about, and that's why these patches don't work, because there's other things about them that they're not telling us that they're trying to make sure that work properly, and as a result, we're getting these weird things. Anyway, let's allow them to continue.
improvements for Windows, Win 10 admins and their users have been reporting widespread network printing problems. Over on Bleeping Computers active forum, the postings about this issue extend for 14 pages.
That's a lot.
And once again, while the posters have told the tales of their frustrated attempts to deal with the new printing problems, they once again came to the previous month's conclusion. Uninstalling the October cumulative updates resolves the printing problem. Of course, they had also uninstalled the September cumulative updates to, again, resolve the printing problem, and the August cumulative updates to resolve the printing problem. Otherwise, you can't print in these instances. In fact,
And that's why I have not been installing them, so I don't need to uninstall them. So I haven't had any trouble. I'm just accepting the risk because there's something wrong at Microsoft. It's too many participation trophies, and people who don't know how to do their job anymore have infiltrated Microsoft, or it's left-wing loons. Who knows what it is? But there's something weird going on, and we need to all be careful.
since then, the issues have grown so severe that Windows admins have reportedly resorted to taking matters into their own hands because they don't want to be 90 days behind on all of these critical zero-day and other
There's no
Windows
choice.
problems that August and September and October
I think
fixed
it's probably
by
safer.
seemingly being unable to fix Windows printing. So
That's because
they
printing
are-
is not their goal.
I'm not kidding. Replacing Windows DLLs by hand with older versions of the DLLs to re-enable printing.
What needs to happen here is Microsoft needs to separate all the patches and roll them out individually like they used to do, so that we can install the ones that work and be secure against those vulnerabilities, and then the print issue should remain a separate patch, and then we don't have to pull out everything just to get rid of that one portion of it. That's the problem with these updates since Windows 10. They roll it all into one package. Everything's cumulative. So no matter what, you're going to get it in the end. And if they're not going to fix it, there's no hope.
Bleepy Computer reports that the DLLs admins are replacing to get their enterprises printing, the networked printing working again are local SPL.dll, Win32SPL.dll, and spool SV.exe. They all sound like spooling things. And while stepping back to earlier DLLs will remove Microsoft's multiple attempted fixes for the various print nightmares, since Microsoft continues to be unable to get their network printing to work with security, it's either go without security and print, or go without printing. Also, manually replacing only those 3.
My customers have to go without security because they need to run their business. Maybe this is a tool to put people out of business. That's what this is. It's a tool to kill business.
DLL culprits has the benefit of leaving the rest of October's, and for that matter September's and August's, updates in place, which would otherwise all need to be rolled back as a whole.
Yeah, and that's why I say separate the patches again. It's just not worth it.
Which, people really don't want to do. Next Tuesday,
Oh,
the 9th, right?
Patch Tuesday.
Microsoft will have the opportunity to take another crack at it. It does feel as though they're maybe finally zeroing in on the trouble.
No.
Maybe they could just put those older... No, they can't because those aren't secure.
That's correct.
Anyway, we'll wait to see what happens.
Nothing's going to happen because there's an ulterior motive going on here they're not telling us about.
Has become...
Call me
their
conspiracy
field
theorist,
test lab.
but
You'd think
how many
that
how
they
many
would
have been
have
proven right
some
in the last year?
well-established testing facilities for checking these things out before subjecting the rest of the world to their repeated and failed
They fired all
experiments, which
the
is
beta
what's
testers for
been happening
patches.
for 90 days.
We are
On
the
the
beta
other hand,
testers.
we know that they have, lost exactly 0 customers
That's why they don't
as
care.
a result of this repeated demonstration of incompetence.
Yes,
So why would
very
they bother?
incompetent.
I know how harsh that sounds.
It's not harsh.
but I don't
It's the
see
truth,
any other
Steve.
rational explanation. We might not like it, but it is at least...
The only other rational explanation is there's a nefarious thing going on here that they're keeping secret from us, and they're going to get it all installed in all the machines, and then they're going to release it. And it's going to, it's a cyber attack or it's something big. You mark my words.
brutally rational.
And they're not alone in that practice. I mean, Google comes to mind. Google does this all the time with their products. And many Google users feel the same way, right? Like, am I, as a Google fan and Google user, am I just constantly beta testing your products for you?
Yeah.
But yeah, we come back and we come back,
Yeah. So one thing Microsoft seems to be doing that I think Google isn't is fixing the symptom rather than the cause. We have a new local...
That's because the cause is perfectly installed and they can't fix it or it won't do what they want it to do.
privilege escalation, which affects all versions of Windows. I mean, like right now, a security researcher by the name of Abdulhamid Nasiri has disclosed technical details for a Windows privilege elevation vulnerability and posted a public proof of concept exploit that gives system privileges under certain conditions.
Okay, I'm going to skip this.
Now, Microsoft didn't patch what was provided in the report, but the impact of the proof of concept. Since the proof of concept I wrote before was horrible, he's saying of his own proof of concept, it could only reproduce a directory deletion bug. As from the quick patch analysis, they didn't do any major changes to the code. They only removed the C directory remover destructor, which removed the directory. Unfortunately, this isn't sufficient to fix the bug. Okay.
So what he said there, this guy reports a bug, and instead of fixing the root cause of the bug, they hide, they adjust their code to hide his proof of concept tool so that we think it's fixed, but they're just hiding it a little better now so we don't discover it. And of course he checked their work and found out what they did.
Okay, so the revised proof of concept, which he posted,
So he fixes
will
it.
cause an elevated command prompt
And it's
with
not patched.
system privileges to be launched while the user account control prompt is displayed. Okay, this is, again, just the proof of concept. CertCC's vulnerability analyst, who we often quote, Will Dorman, tested the vulnerability, that is this proof of concept, and found that while it worked, it was a little temperamental and didn't always create the elevated command prompt. But Bleepy Computer tested the vulnerability as provided, and it launched an elevated command prompt immediately and successfully. And of course, again, this was just to demonstrate the bug hadn't been fixed. Okay, now the good news is that the exploitation of the bug requires a threat actor to have the login credentials not only for the account they're currently logged into, but some other account on the system. While there are scenarios where this could allow a user to escape administrative control, Dorman agreed that it is definitely still a problem, and there may be scenarios where it can be abused. He said, but the 2-account requirement probably puts it in the boat, as he phrased it, of not being something that will have widespread use in the wild. And I certainly agree with that. However, Nassiri told Bleeping Computer that a threat actor only needs another domain account to exploit the vulnerability, so it should still be something to be concerned about. And for what it's worth, Microsoft said they are aware of the issue and are looking into it. Again, my greater concern is that Windows, while it's always been buggy, it's always been workable. But it feels as though Microsoft is starting to treat outside security researchers as an annoyance to be muted as quickly as possible.
Does that sound familiar? It's like the anti-vax people. We're all being censored when they don't like what we're looking at and what we're discovering. It's all about censorship.
Rather than as a source of vital and irreplaceable security information that can serve to make their operating system better. You know, that's what we all want.
That's not the plan anymore.
Microsoft says they want it. Users certainly do. Security researchers certainly do. But it's feeling like researchers are now on the outside just annoying Microsoft.
Yeah, the non-believers.
Okay. In an announcement accompanying an update to their Windows PC Health Check app, and as we saw from the picture of the week, looks like it did need to be updated since it was disagreeing with Windows 11 setup. And we'll get to that. There's another issue about that in a minute. Microsoft said that as part of their phased rollout of Windows 11 to existing Windows 10 users, okay, listen to this, quote, the availability of Windows 11 has been increased, and we are leveraging our latest generation machine learning model to offer the upgrade to an expanded set of eligible devices.
Doesn't that sound like an expanded vaccination program to you? It sure does to me.
And I'll just note that according to previous statements, Microsoft estimates that all eligible Windows 10 devices will be offered the upgrade to the latest version by mid next year, 2022. Okay, now nothing about any of that should sound reasonable.
No, it's not.
In fact, remembering that computing is entirely deterministic, it's difficult to imagine that that's even true. So, Microsoft, you currently have Windows 10 working on all...
Excuse me for a minute. Sorry about that. Let's continue.
PCs everywhere in the world. It simply runs anywhere. No problem. And many years ago, before Windows 10, although not everyone wanted Win 10, and you had to force many people to take it, anyone who
Does
had
that
Windows
sound familiar?
7 or 8 could immediately
Win 10
upgrade
vaccination.
to Windows 10 when it became available, and everything worked just fine. But now, you've apparently so dramatically advanced the state of the art that you no longer understand your own operating system. If we're to believe what you're saying, it's become a mystery to you, Microsoft. It's gotten away from you.
It certainly
And
has.
instead of it running better and in more places, you no longer know where or if it will run at all. So you built yourself
Why does that sound so familiar?
a machine learning model, an AI, an oracle, to tell you where it might be safe to give it a try. Based on what? Statistics? Hope? A complex statistical model that you need an AI to peer into? What has gone wrong? You are, and I quote, leveraging your latest generation machine learning model to offer the upgrade to an expanded set of eligible devices. So you've somehow taken an operating system which could, for many generations, install and run on any Intel-based hardware that anyone had. But now it's so advanced that it can no longer run on all Intel-based hardware, only some. But you don't know where, what, or which. As I said, nothing about any of this should sound reasonable.
It's not. Very
Something
unreasonable.
has gone wrong in Redmond.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's
speaking of
it's
the
Dr.
Redmond-
Bill. Nefarious. It's Dr. No, the evildoer.
Really, I mean, it's like we're all buying this bullshit. I mean, it's nuts. It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll get lucky and Windows 11 will run. You know, I didn't want 10. They forced me to have it, and it ran just fine. Now I can't have it. So what, am I supposed to want it? You know, to get
Windows
around
7's the way to go.
corners
Go
so
back.
I don't, you know, cut myself on a sharp edge? Oh, it's just Looney Tunes. You know, and everyone's like, oh, wow, they're using advanced learning model AI to figure out if, you know, if I can have it or not. What?
Don't worry, the next version will be better. The next version will win you over again. It's the on again, off again TikTok nature of these releases. All you have to do is wait
And
for the
let's
next
not
release.
let's not forget, they couldn't name it Windows 9 because some things might have been confused, I'm not kidding, and thought this was 95 or 98. They were worried about the digit 9 in the version. And it's like, oh, things will break if we call it Windows 9. I mean, that should have been our first clue, that there was something wrong. Wow. Okay, now, on top of all this, we've also just learned, as of last Friday, that Microsoft has begun to force install their PC health check
Oh,
app.
the pain just gets
You know,
worse.
the one in this week's picture of the week, which disagrees
More buggy
with
software.
Windows 11 setup, onto Windows 10 devices using a Windows update. It's KB500 5463. Windows 10 users quickly noticed this and began complaining to Microsoft. Microsoft said that any users who do not want PC health check
It's really a sad day for IT. I don't really want to be in this business anymore. The way things are going, it's very stressful.
on their system, which was, you know, snuck in under the guise of Windows Update, can simply uninstall it using the Settings app. However, those who've done so numerous times have discovered that it will be seen as missing by Windows after they uninstall it, and it'll be reinstalled.
The only way to control that is to use the Pro version, use group policy and Windows Software Update Services to control what rolls out. That's the only way to get around it, and that's what you got to do.
During the system's next check for updates. And even more maddeningly, when attempting to uninstall KB500 5463, Windows 10 may inform its user that the update is not installed when the user is looking right at it. You know, like I said, it's gotten out of control.
Unbelievable.
It's like the that inmates are, running the asylum. There's a registry key named previous uninstall, which is supposed to be set to indicate that a user has manually removed an update so that Windows Update will not see that the update is missing and reinstall it. But for some reason, that mechanism isn't working reliably in this case. Gee.
Because something
Imagine
else
that.
is controlling
And
it.
there's no reason not to want the PC health check, right? I mean, it doesn't run automatically. They're giving it to you so that you can, check in, I guess, with the latest
Oh, this is a long
machine
video.
learning AI
This guy goes,
to see
it's
if
so
it's
slow.
decided that you can,
You should be like Ben
now
Shapiro.
your
Talk
machine
fast.
works with it. Apparently it didn't before, or we're not sure, but the AI, the Oracle that we're consulting seems to think now you can give it a try. If when you actually try to run Windows 11 setup, it lets you. Who knows? On the other hand, it appears to be mostly users who are affronted by yet another indignity foisted upon them by Microsoft. We old-timers still haven't given up imagining that we control our own machines.
Getting tough.
It's becoming clear that the only way for that to be true will be to move to Linux.
There you go.
Linus Torvalds' dream of building a truly attractive and personal operating
That's how bad
system,
it's gotten, is that
is
Steve
being
Gibson
more
says
fully
move to
realized
Linux.
every day.
Unbelievable.
With that, Jason, I'm going to take a sip of water, and you're going to, give us a nice pause.
If you could,
Okay, there you have it, folks. Windows has gotten so bad because there's something's going on there that we're going to find out later. It is really what the answer is, and it's screwing everything up. The people who work there are incompetent, and Windows runs our world right now, and they're fucking it up royally. And I'm sure it's for a nefarious process that's going to bite us in the ass somewhere down the road when they decide to release it. Mark my words. Conspiracy theory or not, how many have you seen come true in the last year? Okay? Oh, there won't be any quarantine hotels. Oh no, we won't have vaccine passports. Well, no, come on. You see what's going on here. Windows is in on it with the deep state and the one world, whatever they call it. Anyway, I gotta go do some work, people. So enjoy the video. I'm sorry it's long, but Steve talks so slow about everything, and it takes him 2 hours to talk about something that should be 30 minutes. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll update you on the episode 1 scenario next video. Thanks, and take care.